And with that, time to see how things are going to be lining up on this absolutely stellar afternoon. 38 trucks ready to do battle for the Hampton, Georgia 200. Started this race from pole position this afternoon. It is going to be Juan Lemon Vingelier alongside Jason Fensler by just 1/1000th of a second. Bill Hales is third, and season opener winner Paul Witt is in fourth. Jim Duda back at the number 5 spot along with Austin Mitchell. Aaron Raymond is in 7th. Justin Sogak, Daytona Pulsator in 8th. Zane Bailey is 9th. Dylan Wilbers in 10th. The top 10 separated by under half a tenth of a second.
Moving back in the P11s, John Buwalda Jr. with Aaron May back in row 6 in P12. 13th and 14th belong to Dale Rapp and Ryan McRoberts. Jeff Gilmore and Jared Duda back in row 8, 15th and 16th. 17th and 18th, Brad Slagle and Ryan Wayne. And then 19th and 20th is Zachary Mers and George Kreifelds in P20.
Moving down through the field, it's going to be Dylan Grutzmacher in 21st, along with Michael Dow in 22nd. Thomas Lee Jr. is 23rd. That is Joshua Haiba in 24th. Gonzalez, Rincon, Campbell, Modzelewski, Kolwensberger, and Swatford for the top 30. Then Campbell, Williams, Jernigan, Chiswick, Cody Witt, Amaro, Anthony Lane, and Nicholas Braz round out the field. Only a quarter of a second separated the field from top to bottom. That's not a lot, even by oval standards.
No, and that's, of course, we use that word all the time. That's the benefit of super speedway racing. We're all going to be packed together. The times are almost identical. So finding good time in qualifying here is really the minute things, right? You're not going to learn any big thing. You're not going to find any big advantage over someone in this type of qualifying. You're all just... It's about did you get a minuscule less of wheel input maybe, or did you maybe just get right down to the red line versus right above it? That's what we're talking about for qualifying, right? When there's that much time there, not much different. And listen, probably for the first 20, 30 laps of this race, or of any tire run we have, the field can be that close all race long.
So you see the field making their way out of pit road. 55% fuel tank limitations in these trucks means that pit stops are going to be frequent, expecting at least a 3 or 4 stop race, maybe even a 5 stop race this afternoon. So that's going to shake things up as well. Like you mentioned, there's a lot to be excited about when you get a full pack of trucks like this. Passing, though, going to be absolutely critical, especially teamwork. How do we think drivers like Paul Witt might be able to fight their way to the front and critically stay there?
Yeah, that'll be the question, is how great can Paul Witt do on this start? And of course, here, unlike most races, your leader, Lieben Van Leer and Jason Fensler on the outside, they don't want to get a big jump. That's sort of the ironic thing. We talk about restarts and really jumping the field. If you jump the field here, if you get that big a head lead on Bill Hales, Paul Witt, Jim Duda, or the others, they're just going to run you down, and that draft will sort of suck you in, and you're more of a victim at that point. You're more just letting it happen to you. So here we go. Pace car's down. Let's see what happens.
Into the restart zone. We're not going. They've crashed before we even enter the restart zone.
Wow. All right. Well, that's
a new
not
one
on my bingo card. Let's watch here as all the trucks are trying to get moving. And we have some apologies happening, and I don't know what's going to happen. I'm sure if it's going to be someone trying to jump the start. We'll wait and see when the replay shows us here and find out.
That is a new one. They went 70 laps green in Daytona. I guess we had to make up for that this afternoon.
This technically isn't a yellow. I mean,
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. What in the world? It started with Thomas Lane Jr.
It's up there. Yeah, it's up top. Wow. Let's watch up here. He's just going to come up, I suspect.
And then just not
enough.
enough.
Got pushed up.
It's just way too much separation there.
And listen, the downside for those 3 or 4 trucks involved right there, this is an aero track. This is a super speedway race. And even though we're kind of joking about it, not really counting, it's not really a caution, and kind of having a little fun with it, the truth is that's going to count for a lot of people. They'll get to line back up on their spots, hopefully, but even if they do or don't, they have damage to start this race. They are now literally behind the proverbial 8 ball on lap 0.
That's why you gotta stay packed up, given a lot of that separation. This is the hazard you ran into. We've seen it in so many leagues, most notably happened twice in the High Tide Racing League in their Martinsville race. This isn't really one of those tracks you expect to see that on. I don't like how much separation I'm still seeing after all of that just went down, but we'll see how this race start is gonna go. Pace car's off this time by take 2 on trying to get a race going. into the Geico restart zone. Green flags in the air. It's go, go, go for the Hampton, Georgia 200.
Well, that bump draft didn't take long, did it, Nolan? Look at that outside lane. There was a obvious bumping going on between Fensler and the truck behind him. So there they go. They've already moved to the bottom.
No, sir, did not take long at all as the pack shuttles their way all the way down the back straightaway in towards turn numbers 3 and 4. And right now it is Fensler to lead the way from up top. LeBron Van Leer, the pole sitter, not with the best of launches. He has dropped back to 3rd to the end of lap number 1.
Look at all the moving happening behind them. Look at all the trucks just weaving back and forth here through this field. Now here's something that's different about this race versus, you know, our typical Daytona, Talladega. These corners cannot always be flat out. There's a little bit of lifting that happens in these corners. Yes, you're in the draft, and yes, you want to benefit from the draft, but this is not flat-footed. You're lifting probably, in my opinion, way more than you are at the other tracks. So we'll wait and see what happens here. Caution's out the back of the field. We have a wreck, and that's going to put us under caution for the first time officially today.
Did not take long in this one. Luigi Gonzalez, one of the main contenders involved. Michael Campbell, the third, looking like he may have been the other. Let's take a look back, find out what happened.
Yeah, let's take a look here and see.
Oh, wow, up the road again.
Yep, definitely up the road.
Lane gets bodied into the inside wall. The 72 then stacks up. The 72 or the 38's got a broken truck. He's still losing it. So there's
Campbell. I feel like we're seeing some repeat trucks here, by the way.
Yeah.
People who were involved in lap 0. There's the truck on the outside. I believe that's the truck who really started the lap 0 incident. That's the 90. I'd love to go back in 15, 20 seconds and kind of follow the 90s. I think that's going to be the source of the problem. Let's find out here. That's Luigi here.
There's Gonzalez.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Oh, boy, that's a hard lick.
Boy, that's what, I mean, that's the 38 who got plowed. That's Thomas Lane Jr. who got hit there in the center of the inside wall, and then all calamity broke loose.
Yeah, so Gonzalez got turned across the nose of, I think that's Campbell there, just trying to avoid this, kind of going evasive. It wasn't quite tracking where his truck was going, it looked like.
Yeah, that's maybe not the let's start this league once for this race, but they'll get it cleaned up. I mean, that's, you know, that's why we come here sometimes is you know, the high risk racing, what we all love. It's high adrenaline, you know, it is high risk, and we call it that for a reason. And unfortunately, some drivers are finding that out. Now, the good news for some of these drivers, though, who got incidents on lap 0, is they now get to come down under yellow here on lap, what, 4 or 5, lap 4, and see what they have. But let's watch it again here. See what's happening in front. Gotta stay middle, stay middle, stay middle. Yep, nice run.
Good job from Morrow, gotten around that with not too much of an incident. So, yeah, just one truck breaking loose, and it causes all of this. And like you mentioned, a lot of repeat runners in that, and I don't think they're at fault. Like, Lane did nothing wrong there, obviously. And I think the incident that happened with Gonzalez, that's just wrong place, wrong time, trying to avoid an existing incident. It's just one of those situations where everything just happened to fall into exactly the wrong place at the same time.
Yep.
But I agree, not the start they wanted to have with this league, but I think it is worth noting, a very unusual start. This is not very characteristic of this league. They're known for having some really long green flag runs, especially early on. So this is the exception, not the norm.
And that's it. This is that kind of track. It's going to happen, and you have to let it not get to your head as a driver. Some drivers really let the idea of cautions like fester in their head, and they kind of get mad and they get grumpy, and how do we do this, and why are we like this, and all this other, you know, hogwash that really goes into that. And it's like, I don't get it. Like, cautions happen, like in sim racing, in real life racing, in road racing, in oval racing. It's just part of the gig. That's why we have caution flags, because it's going to happen. So, hey, take this as a chance to save some fuel. You know, maybe you gained a couple spots, breathe here, and just move on with your race.
We'll restart this race on lap 6 of 135 this afternoon. So 200 miles, give or take, might be a little bit over that number. This is a 1.6 mile speedway instead of the traditional 1.5, unless that also changed with the repave. But they'll pass by pit entry. It'll be in the hands of Fensler to take them back to the restart.
Yeah, Fensler's going to benefit here. Remember, he got that incredible push from Paul Witt, I believe, was on the outside. And they just went to the front quickly and then pulled down to the front here. So Now they get to race side by side. We'll see if they continue to work together. It'll be curious to see if Witt quickly finds a way to the bottom or if he stays outside.
Race car is off. Back into the Geico restart zone at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Green flag is up in the air. We'll try it again.
Witt wanted to move down. There's a gap right there. See, there it is. Obviously, wanted to get down there and make it happen. And that'll leave the 35 outside. That's Bill Hales leading the outside lane now. But Paul Witt seems to be very happy working with Jason as well. Never mind, he's went back up top to lead that top lane.
Yeah, Paul Witt wants to be the leader of this race. This is where he tends to thrive, is up here at the front, leading the way. He knows how to get these races won. LeBon Van Leer, though, the pole sitter by just 1 foul. Trying to look to the inside. Will he think about 3 wide for the lead? He's going to go no dice on that for now, and he'll stay down to the bottom lane of the racetrack. Bill Hales up top. He's the main push on the outside line.
Now becomes that question of, how do you want to race? And there's all these strategies behind a super speedway race. Do you want to be up front? Do you want to be in the back? Do you want to be in the middle? Do you want to race your way up front and learn what your truck can do? And everyone has a strategy here, right? Everyone has a different philosophy about how a super speedway race should be run. But right now, these guys up front, Benzler, Witt, Hales, Duda, even Van Leer, they all want to be up front. That's what they've decided or they've kind of been pushed into. But look at this. I mean, we're 2 wide, probably 7, 8 deep here of cars that want to race for the lead.
2 trucks to keep an eye on, the 53 and the 053. That is Jared and Jim Duda, father-son duo, that are making their way around the racetrack. They are on opposing lines, but they have proven to be quite the fighting force. If they can get linked up, we could see a family dynasty up at the head of this field.
Yeah, that's always fun to see when you see, relatively working together. So we'll see if they can make that work here. See the truck here. Of course, you see that Nolan said the white and blue 53 of the green numbers on the outside there. So we'll see if he can make that work. That's Jared Duda in that particular truck.
Look at how much the outside line got a run there entering turn 3. There's not a lot of pace on that bottom lane to the corners right now. Seems like all the momentum is coming from up top.
Well, you do get a bit more of a run. Man, look at that bump again. That was an incredible run that Paul Witt got from Zane Bailey, and then Bailey's going to try to make a run of his own with Duda now behind him. But you do get a bit of a run because you get that extra momentum off of this corner. You get to be in the gas a little sooner. You get to be in the gas a little harder. But right out of the bottom lane, they just have to kind of creep up a little bit and not burn off speed or scrub off speed. Riding the complete bottom of this track. That may be how they get there. Now we're riding on board with our P2 on the inside lane. This is Jason Benzler, the California native.
Benzler doing a good job on being the pusher. He has shown that he can be a team player in these types of situations, and he got a lot of people working with Benzler. That's how he's able to stay up at the front pretty much all race long. Nobody really wanted to drop that 15 machine. He knows how to be a good pusher, and that's what you need at racetracks like this. It's unfortunate that Benzler could not come away with the win because he had a pretty strong showing there. One driver that I am very curious to keep an eye on, Zachary. Oh boy, we'll get back to that in a moment. Brad Slagle making his first return in well over a season in SRA. Tried to jump down to the inside and almost got put 3 wide.
Yeah, that was scary for a moment, see him kind of stuck in that middle, what he was going to do with it, but he found a spot up top to slide himself into. But yeah, look at this, now the bottom is got a bit of what has more cars. That does matter. It also matters what lane has more patience, right? Some people in this type of racing will move a lane, hoping it's going to work. The moment it doesn't, they just dip it back out. No, it takes time to build momentum here. It takes time to build a run. It just doesn't happen. The top lane will come back again. They'll get a run here in a second, and the bottom lane will fall back, and we'll seesaw that all night long. It just takes 1 or 2 drivers to move lanes for that momentum to shift.
One driver that, again, I'm keeping an eye on this race is Zachary Mertz in the 09 entry. He was disqualified for the Daytona race and had to sit out that race because of an incident that happened in the final preseason race. He had what could only be described as an ARCA throttle, so because of that, he was not permitted to start the SRA Open at Daytona 1 week ago. So he is way down to the points, but showing he still has speed, even on these 1.5-mile racetracks. So Zachary Mertz could be a title player if he can rally back here.
You know, that's one of the things we kind of talk about in our sports analogies and our sports analysis and broadcasting. We have those, you know, the comeback races or the angry races or what have you when a player or a driver has those big moments. Well, for him, this is a, you know, I want to go out and prove myself kind of moment. I'm one race down the points. I want to prove to my people here that I belong and prove to them that I'm not the person maybe I proved I was with that incident in that final preseason race.
Right now, he is the main pusher with Dale Rapp, but not a lot of faith being shown to the outside line. Bottom lane pulling out a breakaway. Paul Witt, Jason Fenzer, Levant Van Leer all getting clear. We are double file all the way back and looking for a little bit of 3 wide again through the middle. And Slagle thought about that run, decides against it. By the way, we still have first all the way back to 33rd. Packed up in this one battle pack here with nobody separated by more than about a tenth and a half. The first driver off, Joshua Jernigan, 3 seconds off of this big
yeah,
big
that's
mess.
Unfortunate for him. He's well off the pace. Sometimes you do that as a driver. You hey, listen, I'm going to fall back. You know, you maybe sit in the back of the pack and kind of ride and be quote unquote safe. And next thing you know, the draft has left you behind. So now he's just kind of riding. Now he's hoping for probably a yellow to get him back together here. But watch these two lines here, and I think part of why the bottom lane is exceeding a little bit right now is when you're on the bottom lane, you have a very obvious kind of track marker to use, right? You have that big painted red line, and it's treated just like the ones at Talladega or Daytona. You're not supposed to be passing under it. But my point is, it gives you a marker if you're on the bottom lane. It's something to focus on where to plant my car. If you're on the top side, notice how those guys move around more. Like, look at that. Look at that car in the second row there. That's, I think, the car's moving around. He just doesn't have a visual marker, Nolan, to kind of guide himself on how to stay in the line.
And it's vital, right? You have to have those markers. Then you see Mertz jumping way up to the high side. So Zachary Mertz, he's going to jump up top and almost again thought about putting these guys 3 abreast. Brad Slagle, you can see him actually give it a little bit of room to Mertz up the road. I think he's kind of watching a lot of this, and he's not very confident, so he's giving just a tiny bit of space to try to mitigate the damage or scrub it off, maybe a few miles an hour if they end up turning each other into the wall. And we see the same thing happening for George Karafides in the number 4 car, the number 4 truck, excuse me, just a little ways behind him. So he's going to try to continue working things as well with this number 4 entry. That 4 truck already up 12 positions, but the most spots gained does go to Mertz, up 15 so far in the day.
Yeah, that's a great one. But look at that top lane. That's why they're not really building the momentum in the bottom lane. Because look how wide those cars swing around. And every time you do that, you're killing a little bit of that draft. You're killing a little bit of that run. You're killing some speed off of that lane. And that's why you're having a hard time catching up with the leader evenly. Man, look at that blue and green. That's that number 4 machine.
Oh boy.
Again, you see George up there.
And Aaron Raymond powering 3 wide through the middle, and he's going to be followed in by the 24 entry of Aaron May. May, one of the rookies, Aaron Raymond, the 3-time repeat defending champion for the SP Designs number 6 Toyota Tundra. So Aaron Raymond getting the elbows out early on. Raymond had a pretty bad race at Daytona as well. He knows he's on the back foot early, and he wants to get a jump on these guys before he could get much worse.
Yeah, so we'll see, of course. Oh, so what he had here, man, that was a big checkup, big accordion. In fact, it turned into nothing, thank goodness, but that could have been really scary. There's points for leading a lap, points for leading the most lap, points for where you finish. There's lots of points to be found here in this race. And we're going to ride on here and look at a couple cars and watch the number 43 here. Has a picture of Butterbean as his profile photo. There's kind of an interesting photo.
Oh, look at that. Jack-o'-lantern helmet. I like it. I like it.
Out of season.
Well, listen, it's never too early for candy corn.
No. You and I have, no, come on. You and I have disagreed on a lot of things. Candy corn? No. Let's go eat a damn candle next time.
I was trying to think of something seasonal, and this is the only thing I could think of immediately.
No, like, you know, it's never out of season for candy bars or M&Ms or something, yeah, but candy corn, just eat the damn candle next time. Just go down to Yankee Candle, get yourself an orange candle, and just gnaw on it. Oh my God, speaking of gnawing on things, they feel this gnawing on one another. All the bumps, the nudges, the pushes, the shoves, everything's happening here from an outside perspective, this race looks calm. You just kind of look at it in this view, right? If you don't focus on the minuscule things that are happening, you think, hey, these guys are kind of relaxed, they're chill, it's a calm race. But I'll tell you what, inside this truck, both hands on the wheel, all the moving, the shaking, the bumping, and everything that's going on, this race is anything but calm.
Yeah, this is on board. It's George Kirifides right now. It's driving to Old Bridge, New Jersey. Currently running 11. And oh, we got one to the wall on top. That's going to be risky. That's one of the lap trucks as well. That was Nicholas Braz that just went a lap down. And Joshua Jernigan is at a dangerous risk of doing the same. You see him up now to the top shelf and up against the outside wall.
And there's going to be some hot topics about this. I know typically that you want these lapped vehicles to be to the top of the track and kind of out of the way. At this track, I'd have much rather you'd have been to the bottom and just, you know, rival that apron and pull back up when you can. This is some sketchy three-wide racing that's going to happen through the dog leg and through the corners. It's not necessary. Look at the cars swinging wide to avoid all of it. Yeah, this is sketch. I'll definitely be. And what's more impressive to me, Nolan, I'm sitting here listening to driver's radio, and no one said a word about it until they got up on them.
I think a lot of drivers are kind of used to the fact that this is just a part of this racing, because in all fairness to the lap traffic, there is not a lot of places they can go. It's not like Daytona where the straight's long enough that you can let the entire field run the apron before you get to the next corner. It's so short here that the corners are so long. If you want to keep pace up, the only option really is against the outside wall as best as you can manage it.
Yeah, I mean, I would still prefer you be down on the apron. I know it's going to slow your speed as a lap car, and I respect that. That's the concern about why not to do it. But at least on the apron, you're probably less likely to avoid some incidents or less likely to cause incidents on track, pardon me. So I prefer that. But man, look at what getting those lap cars did to that top lane. The question is, what top lane, right? Look at it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10 cars, single file on the bottom here. Now, eventually someone will go, hey, you know, I'm going to make a move and I'll get up there. But for the moment, they have dismantled that top lane.
Only 5 trucks remain loyal to the top shelf. Among those is Dylan Wilbers, Justin Anasogak, the Daytona pole sitter. You got Austin Mitchell up there, obviously the 72 who is still dropping. And then you got the 41 of Joshua Highbaugh back here as well that's also staying loyal to the top lane. So 4 trucks on the lead lap. Mitchell is going to give the 72 a helping hand here. That will allow for Campbell to get back up to speed with these guys. And he's no longer going to be, I think, at risk of catching the outside wall, trying to let by a bunch of guys that are going, 20 miles an hour faster than he is.
Yeah, and again, that's all that's going on here with all these games are being played about getting around lap traffic. You see, still now getting 3. Oh, there's a car well on the wall. Is that the 82? That is the 82. Man, that is a caution that's come out here, and that is Anthony Lane, who's hard into both walls.
Single truck incident to bring out caution flag number 2 this afternoon, and that looked like it was a little bit of a weird one, if I'm being honest. Let's jump back. We'll find out what happened.
I wonder if it's going to be a technology problem. Let's watch it here. This is 82, bottom lane, right behind the 77.
Saw 4.
This is gonna be, yeah, all 4. You see, we're going into the dog leg here on the quad oval, if you will. Looks good. Maybe cuts it a little tight, but that's okay. And then here it cuts it down deep onto the apron, and
that's hardware.
That's definitely hardware. Yeah, and I think I'm now hearing had an issue maybe with the monitor going blank and just pulled it to the left on purpose, but
good call.
Yeah,
it would have been a good call if he didn't do this.
I mean, even doing that, that's still a good call, because if he'd instantly pulled right,
true.
For example, he'd have hit someone, right? So unfortunately for him, you see that deadly smoke, he's done. So unfortunate for him. But here it is, everyone down pit road. This yellow flag kind of happened at an appropriate time. You talked about there being the shortened fuel tanks. We weren't too far from our first round of green flag pit stops. So for everyone here involved, this will make things a little easier. And should also, by the way, give, I believe, the lucky dog pass, I think, to Nicholas Braz.
That tracks for me. He is the one that's out on the racetrack. Joshua Jernigan staying out. And I imagine he is going to be doing that to try and make sure he can stay on the lead lap as well. So here comes the race off of pit road, and Fensler beats Paul Witt out. Zane Bailey beats him out as well. Very mixed call. First 6 trucks or so are in, took fuel only. Then Van Leer, Rapp, Hales took tires. So did Bawalda and Mertz. Slago, Modzelewski, Kirifides, Mitchell all taking tires, as did McRoberts, Grutzbacher.
And I'll be honest with you, I'm not sure about that call because, you know, this is the other difference. I know we compared this again to Daytona and Talladega, and that analogy gets old, and I get it. But the difference here is this track does eat some tires, right? This is not that kind of that smoother surface you might find in your typical super speedway. So what's going to happen again? Watch this white truck. This is why we're under caution. It just pulls to the left, and it's going to bounce off here and hit up on the outside wall. But you do need tires here, Nolan, was my point. You can't, you know, go a whole race without changing tires like maybe you can at a Dega or a Daytona. And so I'm a little unsure for these cars up front. For Jernigan, pardon me, for Finsler, for Witt, for Bailey. I'm curious how this no tire play will work out for them.
Josh Jernigan is now into pit road. He did stay out on the first lap under caution, so he'll get back in now. I think the other critical thing is, when do you not take tires? Because here's the catch with us only having 55% fuel tanks. Every single race like this, they are short one set of tires, and that is by design, because that is designed so that way it opens up the strategy game a lot more in these races. And it does have a tendency to sometimes spread things out a little bit, especially at the 1.5 mile tracks that aren't Atlanta Motor Speedway. But that's going to be something interesting as well. How much do these tires really factor in? Does it equal to the seconds a lap worth of pace that we often see at some of the smaller tracks?
Yeah, lots of weirdness happen. Remember this track layout? I mean, we talk about this layout and this run. We've only been running this, I think, for 3 or 4 years now. I think there's still a lot to learn about this layout. And I do believe, at least in the real life, Nolan, as the drivers continue to race here, and as this track continues to wear a little bit more, I do believe the super speed feeling is going to kind of eventually, maybe not go away at this track, but I would think in the next 3 to 4 years of real life racing, we start to inch more and more towards old Atlanta as this track wears in. All right, well, here we go. Our pace car's gonna lead them around. We did delay the green by 1 lap, but I believe we are gonna go green this time by, or no, we're not gonna green this time by. Sorry, this is the delayed lap. So you see him 2 wide, Nolan, but they've decided to call this off for a moment and get everyone lined up. So again, if I'm leading, if I'm in this race, this is good news for me. This is fuel saving. This is fuel I maybe don't need to burn that I can save for later. All right, so let's run through your top 10 here. So it's going to be Jason Finsler first, Paul Witt second, Zane Bailey third, Jared Duda fourth, Aaron Raymond fifth, Aaron May in sixth, Jim Duda in seventh, Lieben Van Leer in 8th, Dale Rapp in 9th, and Ryan Wayne in P10.
So those will be your first 5 rows. Hales, Wilbers, Bawalda, Mertz, Gilmore, Slago, Kibrafides, and Sogak and Mitchell for the rest of the top half of the field. We'll work down the back straightaway. 101 laps will be left when we take to the green flag. So far, it's been the Finsler and the Witt show up at the head of this field. The Duda duo has been broken up a little bit, and now, critically, Aaron Raymond cutting his way back towards the front of this pack as well.
Yeah, Aaron Raymond's doing a great job. So I'm curious, you know, what everybody's learning here. We'll talk about this as the night goes on, but you see these cars, you know, back here, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, you know, for Bailey, for Duda, for Raymond, for May. What are they learning in this moment that may help them later? This is sort of a live science experiment, if you will, here happening in this race.
Back to the Geico restart zone. Green flag is up in the air, and we are back to racing action for the Hampton, Georgia 200. A good, solid launch off the line there from Paul Witt and Jared Duda up on the high side of the racetrack. Aaron Raymond trying to get Zane Bailey to give Finsler a push.
Yeah, and he did indeed. They got a great push here through the corner and now coming down the back straight to see how much further ahead they can pull. But look at that. I mean, Bailey's all up on the back end. Maybe not touching every time, but leaving as little air as possible between them as we come from 3 and 4.
So Finsler, Witt, Bailey, Duda, and more all trying to work with each other. We're heading down the back straightaway. 100 laps are left on the boards. 2x2 is going to be the norm this afternoon. Very little room for 3 wide, and the way these corners are profiled, even when you manage to get 3 abreast, it's still one of the most nerve-wracking things you can get on the racetrack.
Yeah, 3 wide here, it kind of feels like 3 wide at Daytona, and maybe it's a bit more narrow than that, but 3 wide at Daytona already feels nerve-wracking. It already feels like somehow there is room for 3 wide, but it doesn't feel that way in the car. And I think the same thing here at Atlanta. It doesn't feel like you should be 3 wide here at this track when you are the one driving. So 2 wide is what most drivers will want to stick to, but as these laps tick down, that 3 wide will become a little bit more prevalent. This race goes on. That iRacing truck right there, the 24, I mean, he almost came down and clobbered someone. My goodness. Aaron May, I thought, was just going to take out part of the field right there.
Yeah, it's been a rough ride for some of these trucks. Aaron May among them. We got one at the outside wall. Zachary Mertz stacking up middle of the field as well. Up on the high side, that was the 16 of Wilbur's that caught the wall coming off of turn 2. Stacked him up in a Brad Slagle. Girafidez almost got involved. And now up the road, Aaron May. Again, getting a little bit nervy with that inside line. It's a tricky balancing act these guys are playing here because you're having to lift just a little bit in these corners. But unlike Auto Club of Michigan where you do the same, there's not a lot of room to run to.
No, not very much room at all. We see on the outside as Lieben Van Leer in the 60 now pushing up on that truck ahead of him, trying to see if they can get back to the front here. You know, the bottom lane staying really consistent in their line. A little bit of movement, but not nearly as much as what the top lane is doing. So they're all working yet another lap, and we'll see how long before Zane Bailey decides he wants to maybe make a move for the lead. How long does he want to ride? How long does he come to ride in second? I mean, the good news for them is they're all saving a bit more fuel, obviously, than our leader in Finsler. But I think right now, if you're Finsler, you're happy being up front away from whatever the potential mess is, and you'll deal with the extra fuel. But again, I mean, something you put out earlier under the restarts is still very valid, Nolan. Look at the gaps up top. Compare the gaps up top versus comparing the gaps on the bottom lane. You see the bottom lane, everyone's kind of tucked in together, right? And everyone's kind of in a straight line. And you got to go 4 cars back before you get to the 53 and you find that first gap in there. But look at the top lane. Look at all those gaps in that lane. That's why that trap isn't working as well. As Finsler moved up, he'll now take the top lane and try to bring them up here with him. But man, that top lane needs to get together. They need to get together and create a better draft, and then they'll start moving.
I'm a bit surprised that Fensler jumped up to the top shelf there. He was doing such a good job on working that line down low. I don't know why he would jump up to the high side.
Choice. If we go back and look, I'm not convinced it was a choice. It may have been a bad bump or just a menacing-like draft run coming from Zane Bailey, but I don't think it was completely a choice to move up. I got the feeling maybe that truck got bumped and he got a little unsettled and moved up there to save the truck. And said, well, I'm here now. Let's find out. Watch this. There's Bailey bumping. Another bump again right through the corner. And yeah, well, maybe not the bump directly, but just adding that extra speed through the corner is what caused that truck of Finsler to kind of start to wobble a little bit and climb the hill, and then Bailey took advantage of
it. So Fensler still trying to take that outside line to the point, and whoa, jumps down, look out, May! Sideways, sliding, catch it at turn number 2. 3 wide as they hit the back straightaway. Somehow that doesn't take out the field. Van Leer goes up the middle, and Jared Dudok can thank his lucky stars that they were able to check it up in front of him.
Yeah, that's crazy, and that's the one we talked about. That's how fast things happen here and how trucks get moved up and down the track, if you will. But that was a crazy moment by Aaron May to save that vehicle from wrecking and causing something with a lot of calamity here. But good job for him. Unfortunately for him, it's going to mess with his confidence and his mood to race. But watch it again here. I mean, things happen all across the track. Look up top, there'll be a car and a wall up there. Lots of things happening at once.
Right there, you see Aaron May kick the tail end out and just got into it with Laban Van Leer, and that could have gone so awry so quick. This is with the 60.
Yeah, right on board here. Well, we see the bump right there between the 2 trucks, and I mean, that 60 the best thing he could. He backed out a little bit. Unfortunately, had to give a small bump to 24. No place to go, but by lifting, he had to mitigate the risk.
Jim Duda tries to cut to the inside. He's going to link up with his son, Jared Duda. Van Leer still hugging that outside groove as well. Fensler now will back to the bottom side of the racetrack where he's been strong all day long. Bailey and Raymond will lock bumpers with him. So 2 by 2 by 2 by 2 all the way back. A little bit of discombobulation around Bill Hales and John Buwalda Jr. So far, I think ever since that initial scare, it has gotten noticeably a little bit tamer now.
Yeah, it has gotten a little bit tamer, right? Everyone's going to calm down. Everyone's kind of had a second to breathe, you know, to go, okay, I got it now. Like, now I know what to expect. The tires are warmed up. They're up to pressure. And so, yeah, it feels like for the moment, you know, knock on wood, we kind of calm down a little bit here. See if we can keep that run going. If we do, we're probably only, I'd say, what, 10, maybe 15 laps from the next round of pit stops. So that shorter fuel tank, I think, is a very interesting conversation piece for this type of racing. And I understand the idea is to create more pit stops, but typically that just creates more chances for people to miss pits or wreck in the pits or anything at a super speed race. If they're out here racing and they're in line and comfortable, I wouldn't want to do anything to make them have to alter that pattern more times than I needed to. But as you said, 55% fuel tank tier means that they are going to pit more often. That's just the reality of the league. This makes pit road more important to practice ahead of time.
Oh, extremely important. And to be fair, very rarely do we see much pit road incidents. So, but I mean, I say that if there's ever going to be a track where we're going to see them, there's 3 places: Daytona, Talladega, Atlanta. Those are the big 3 for pit incidents on pit road entry, just because of how packed up everybody is. There you see Nicholas Braz going another lap down. Just got a lap back, and now he's going to get up and into the fence here in the middle of turn. Oh boy.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I know I repeated it, 20 laps or so ago. Get on the apron. Like, it's just so sketch up there, man. It just takes one bounce off that wall to get down in front of that field and make something stupid happen. And it's not going to be intentional. It's not going to be your goal. It's not going to be what you thought would happen. But it's the reality of these cars bouncing off the walls here to land and getting it up really in someone's way. Well, speaking in the way here, look at this. 2 beautiful lines of racing here. You got Fensler and you got Zane Bailey on the bottom. You got Aaron Raymond up top. He wants to be in the way of the lead. He wants to get up here and race it, and he's got Lieben Van Leer pushing him around.
Right now, Aaron May still trying to be that 3rd truck in line. And that 3rd truck will be very critical as well, because while, yes, the 60 truck is the main guy that has to push Aaron Raymond to make sure they get up there, that 24 has to be a critical key of this puzzle as well, to make sure that the air washes cleanly over the 60 so that it's not so easy for him to get sucked off of the back bumper of that 6 truck in front. So that 3rd truck does have a huge hand to play in how these drafting battles pan out. That doesn't get touched on all that much.
No, and of course, in the golden rule for the 3rd car in line, no matter which lane you're looking at, is, of course, don't push the pusher, right? They want to get up there and they want to get as close as humanly possible and sort of seal off that air, if you will. But they do not want to push the car in front of them. Because right now, if that 29 truck that's on the bottom lane there gets up here and he starts to push on Zane Bailey, who then goes up and tries to push Fensler, you're going to mess up Bailey a lot and cause a wreck. Sorry, I said this one, that's the 429, by the way, on the bottom. Sorry, that's Paul Witt. I missed the 4 in that number. But yeah, if Paul Witt starts pushing on Bailey, who then pushes on Fensler, what's going to happen is they're actually going to probably get Bailey's wheels off the ground, and then he'll just loop around pretty quickly.
So already 55 laps deep into this race, making good time despite the early struggles this afternoon. Fensler from Bailey, from Raymond, Witt, Van Leer for the top 5, and further back you go in the field. It's still a bit dicey back here. I mean, look at Grutzbacher making an aggressive lunge to the inside line to get around the 16 of Dylan Wilbers back here. So further down, you still got everybody jockeying for position, trying to get themselves lined up to try and make their way to the front.
Yeah, yes and no. Like, when we get this far deep in the field, I'm not as convinced these guys want to be up front, right? Because the draft would put them back to the bumper of the car in front of them if that's where they want to be. Some of these drivers want to hang back here, you know, probably till lap 100, maybe lap 90, and they want to say, hey, I survived the wreck, right? They kind of want to, you know, wear that Taurus style t-shirt, say, hey, I survived the wreck, you know, have that achievement of that badge of honor, and then go race. Not everyone feels that need to be up in it, you know, up involved, up in the fray, up in the ruckus for 135 laps. Some people want to take in this kind of the layback, wait and see approach to these types of races.
You got one more truck at risk of going the lap down. Joshua Jernigan entering turn number 3. He's got this pack closing in behind him as he right aboard the deck lid of the number 22 Tundra. This is going to get a little bit dicey once again because these drivers have not been super willing to go onto the apron to let these fields through.
No, and right now, if you're the leaders, you're starting to get nervous because he's still there, right? But he's going to move up. I have no doubt about that. But that's what's in Spencer's head. And I'm just surprised that, oh, he is going to go to the bottom. Look at that. It's like someone listen to me, maybe.
Some drivers do watch these.
Oh, man. You know, I didn't realize. Here's the danger going to the bottom of that track real quick. And come back to the race in front. You have to make sure not to touch that commitment line. If you get that commitment line, you're stuck, and you're going to get caught probably with some penalties for you know, breaking it. But yeah, I'm happy he went to the bottom. That was a safer play. Watch this again here.
Or not.
Yeah, or not, I guess. I was like, all right, well, never mind. But look at this again. I mean, that bottom lane again is dominant. It is just working pretty well. But I would think here we last pitted lap 32 under caution. We can't be that far from our next round of green flag pit stops.
You're right. I don't think we're too far away from that at all. The last time we saw these guys coming down to pit road was on the lap 30 mark under that first caution flag of the afternoon. We are now on our longest green flag run of the race so far. So pit stops, they are an inevitability. And yeah, typically we see pit stops every 34 to 38 laps on these types of mile and a halves.
Yeah, so that's what we'll see here, and we'll wait and see. And of course, if you'll know when it's coming, everyone will be in the bottom lane. It's almost impossible to pit from the top lane here, unless everyone's working together. But also remember, the problem of pitting here is you do not want to pit alone. You have to have friends, you have to have teammates or partners or acquaintances or just someone who wants to work with you temporarily. If you come down pit road alone here at Atlanta, you will leave alone, and you'll likely leave down a lot of time.
We want to make a small correction of it, saying this has been a 55% fuel tank limitation. That is inaccurate. It is 60% fuel tank limitation. So that does offer about another lap and a half or so of extra fuel for these drivers to work with.
Yeah, a little bit, not too much. But hey, every ounce, every liter, every whatever you want to measure it in counts when it comes to fuel. But look at that, drivers starting to move to the bottom lane. So that makes me think here as Lieben Van Leer got to the bottom, and probably not too far from now, we'll see our first round of pit stop. But there's Van Leer in the 60. He moved the bottom, lets the truck in front of him in. So yeah, I get the feeling here the pit stops are not that far away.
Jason Fensler catching more lap traffic. This time it's Noah Swaffer, the Copenhagen number 17 Silverado. Going to stay up to the outside wall. Let this field through down low. He's got the advantage that a good chunk of this field is now single file in preparation for a pit stop, so he doesn't have too much to worry about. Oh, I saw one truck down on the apron preparing to enter pit road. Looking like I may have been mistaken though. Yeah,
I haven't heard any call-outs yet, and I don't see anyone on the timing board that appears to be there.
Maybe
no, Cody Witt actually is on pit road for a short amount of time. Have to look up top. So you may have seen Cody Witt down there because he's been down on pit road for a little bit of time now. And here also we have some out coming down. Robert Chiswick is now pitting. So they'll start to appear on the left side of the ticker here as they come around again here. And we have Fensler leading the field.
You just saw Noah Swaffer catch the outside wall as well, as he got into some lap traffic where they went 3 wide. So Swafford not having the best of runs. There you see Luigi Diaz-Gonzalez. He's going to lose a lap after he got involved in incidents early on. And oh boy, we got cars pitting. This is pit stops for sure. Aaron Mays coming in. Aaron Raymond, the 25 as well, all in a pit road here.
Yeah, everyone's going to be further that line, taking this thing down to speed and really committing here. We'll see if any black flags or penalties come out of this run. I saw a couple trucks who I thought maybe got a little high up on that white lane. So we'll find out here at the end of these stops. But here we are, green flags pit stops for the first time today.
I'm worried about, yeah, like you mentioned, some drivers really almost straddling that pit line. That's something to worry about for sure. Here comes LeBon Van Leer. Zane Bailey is coming in, and more all down into the pit road. Oh, Mertz out wide, and that's going to be a penalty for sure for Zachary Mertz if that's justified as a commitment line violation by iRacing. So he's going to be down, and then Austin Mitchell comes in. There's Highball in as well, Kira Fidesz, Swafford, and more.
Yeah, and I believe those penalties won't be assessed until they're off a pit road is when iRacing will make that decision. So I'll keep an eye on the penalties and the black flags and see what pops up here. So nothing so far, but of course some of these drivers still on pit road. Well, here we are again. You're going to get 4 tires. You're going to get gas. There's no reason not to do both. In fact, you need both here at Atlanta. And we'll pit again right around probably lap, I'd say 98 to 105 will be our next stop. And those may be, man, that'd be stretching it. So this may be our last stop. But they would need a couple cautions if they want to make that happen to stretch the fuel that far.
And here comes everyone else. Paul Witt is in, Anna Sogak, Hales, Bawalda, McRoberts, Gilmore still waiting on the top 4 to come down to pit road. So both Dudas, Rapp, and Grutzmacher, they'll be the last bunch to come down, and they're all in this lap.
By the way, can report to you so far as pit stops are wrapping up, no penalties. So those cars we saw straddling the line must have gotten away with it, because so far I do not see any penalties assessed by iRacing for pit road violations.
Some drivers might take note of that, right? They could look at that and say, hey, why don't we try to see how much we can push this line then the next time we come down to pit road under green here?
Yeah, in fact, it may actually just take someone getting snake bit, right? It may take someone actually kind of getting their hand slapped before one else goes, oh, okay, well, there's the line, right? There's the proverbial line I'm not allowed to cross. But as of right now, no one knows yet, and that is, I can't get a number of smokes at the 09. It is the 09.
Zachary Mertz, yeah, and he's going to take the toe. Did not get the caution I think that he might have been hoping for there. Dale Rapp now in leaving pit road. Fensler takes up the lead. Raymond and Anna Sogak will do the same, and this is what happened to the 09.
Let's go back and watch. Here's me coming after what happened. He's already smoking there. Down in the corner, so we'll probably need to back that replay up a little further to see what happens. 09. Let's try it again here.
Here we go.
Going off at pit road, down, trying to get up to pace, trying to get his cold tires working. Just going to clip that banking, and the truck just went around. Now the good news for him, if he didn't want to tow it, is he could have stayed racing because there'd be no black flag, never came up on the track, but he went ahead and towed it back around.
So Jason Fensler, Aaron Raymond, Justin, Anna Sogak, 1, 2, and 3. Van Leer, Mitchell, Hales, 4, 5, and 6. They're all within a second. They're going to be packed up in one big battle pack for the lead. And then second pack stretches from Dale Rapp back to about Aaron May. Then the third pack is from 16 on back, headed up by Zane Bailey.
Yeah, and by the way, this style of racing with this green flag pit stops, this will break this field apart naturally, just based upon who pits together, when they pit, you know, how many of you pit together. So there'll be some temporary breaks and gaps in this line. Now, they may all come back together via the draft and kind of catch the leaders. But for the moment, this will kind of resemble, you know, I guess what, a mid-2000 super speedway race. Not the tandem drafting per se, but smaller groups trying to be successful.
So Fensler, Raymond, and Sogak, Lear, Mitchell, and Hills again for the top 6. Now, I'm very curious to see how this is going to pan out, because what we saw at Daytona with these leading packs, once you got to the lead, nobody was in the lead for more than a lap, because they kept on deliberately pulling out of line and then tucking back into line about 2-3 cars back when they found a space, because nobody wants to be the one that does all the pushing, and then all of a sudden you're down 2 laps on fuel.
That's what we'll see here. But right now, I like the work that's happening here by Raymond, just following along Fensler. Raymond's going to save some gas. And where that may make a difference, Nolan, is if he keeps following, you're right. I mean, everybody wants to lead, and nobody wants to lead sometimes. But if you're Raymond in second, if you are maybe leaving Van Leer back and forth, you're saving gas by being in your spot. You're lifting more, the draft is carrying you through, you're probably not in the throttle maybe as late, and you're saving gas. And so when, in a little bit, when we come to that final pit stop in this race, that may mean something.
So Jason Fensler, Aaron Raymond, and Sogak will continue for the top 3, and not a lot of separation between packs 1 and 2 at the moment, about 5 seconds between them. Critically, though, the top 6 are still working together well enough that these guys from Southern Town, they're not really gaining anything either.
No, they're not getting anything yet, and that's going to be the important part right now. Get them all stuck together. They're all in line. What we need to see some of those trucks get close together. That 3rd and 4th in line. Look at that gap right there. Close up that gap. Close some different gaps here and see if you can really make something happen. It starts back here, I believe in P7, Parker Witt, Jim Duda, Jared Duda, Dale Rapp, and others in line here. But yeah, they need to push and push harder if they're going to catch the people they want to race.
60 laps are left on the boards this afternoon. It's been a strong push so far from these guys up here. You got Colemansberger, Bailey, and Gilmore that are all trying to still make moves further down the field as well. They're still running single file. So looking like single file running is going to be the name of the game for the most part here. Here you see Brad Slagle. Long stop for Slagle. 24 seconds in the box. So something went horribly awry for this 052 when he came down to pit road. He's right now linked up with Anthony Williams with Goodwise Motorsports and Ryan McRoberts.
Yeah, doing a great job being linked up here, but again, you see that maybe a couple trucks are going to play a line here or there. I think there's a lap truck in the back now. It's going to try to link up in the back, see if he can help push along. But look how wide everyone is through that turn right there. Everyone had a different idea of how wide they want to be, and that's why they're going to have a hard time catching the leaders.
Packs all working line astern with one another, and for the time being, looking like this is going to be the status quo from Atlanta Motor Speedway. We're going to take ourselves with a step back. We're over halfway home. So far, only one caution this afternoon for the Hampton, Georgia 200. When we return, it's the second half of Green Flight TV. We'll go side by side. back to Atlanta Motor Speedway. We are still under green flag conditions after our lone caution about lap 30. Take a run down top to bottom through the field. Fensler from Raymond, from Anasogak, from Lear, from Mitchell, from Hales for the top 6. And then it's Paul Witt, Jim Duda, Jared Duda, and Dale Rapp to close out the top 10.
Going back to P11, we got Ryan Wayne, Aaron May, Chase Modzelewski, John Pawalda Jr., and Dylan Gretschmeyer in your top 15. Then you got Jim Kolbensberger, Zane Bailey, Jeff Gilmore, Mike Campbell, and Dylan Wilbers rounding out your top 20.
George Rincon will be back in 21st along with Joshua Highbaugh. George Kirafides will start 23rd, and along with Brad Slagle at 24th. Ryan McRoberts is 25th, with the likes of Anthony Williams back in 26th. The last truck on the lead lap. Robert Chisholm right now has the lucky dog spot, along with Swaffer, Amarno, and Jernigan all being laps down.
So here we are now working lap 89 of 135. Remember, we last pitted about 22, 23 laps ago. So we still got a bit to go before our next pit stop. But I was wondering in my head during that break, Nolan, we've already broken apart in some mini packs here. I think the front is the front, 6. Then you have the next 6 or 7, maybe next 8 in line. What will the next round of pit stops do? How well are these drivers communicating amongst themselves in Discord or whatever voice chat they're using? Because if these things keep breaking apart, it really could just take one dominant line to catch up quickly.
Oh, absolutely. And we've seen this at places like Daytona, right? Communication is everything. And in fact, there was only really a 5-truck breakaway at Daytona. And in the next, 18, 19 laps between one pit stop run and another, they were able to pull a gap from 5 seconds to 12 with 5 trucks because they were communicating and nobody else was.
Well, it's not just the communication, although that is key. The other factor is without fewer trucks, you actually do get a benefit because there's not as much checkups. Listen, in this big line of trucks you see right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe 9 trucks. What happens is, when someone makes a move up front, it really accordions back. People begin checking up, and you kind of kill a run. You kill your momentum. I've always really believed 4 to 5 vehicles in a row in the Iverson draft model is the sweet spot. That's where you want to be, because you kind of get to hold on to the gas as long as possible. Not as many checkups, not as many people to coordinate when you want to do something. But yeah, here we go. I mean, listen, obviously Fensler's figured it out himself. Raymond have really just led most of this race. And by the way, I got to point out that 13 truck. That is a wild paint scheme on that 13. That thing is bright and colorful. Like, that is a broadcaster's dream of a truck right there.
You will never miss this machine on the racetrack. The one downside, you can't really find the number. It's the one downside, but who needs the number when you got the looks?
Yeah, I mean, listen, again, we'll never lose him. Justin and it's Gok in the P3 here. That 13 truck, you're never going to lose him. Like, I know who that truck is the moment I see it without second guessing.
Is that like a Crash Bandicoot Sonic the Hedgehog mix he's got going on with that look there on the front with the mascot?
Maybe, yeah. It's so wild, isn't it? Yeah, you're right. Crash Bandicoot is a great call out there, actually. Yeah.
There's some semblance to both.
Like maybe a Tasmanian devil kind of thing.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
If you had to pick a Looney Tunes character, I would put Taz up on your list. I don't know why. You're both kind of loud. You're both a little rambunctious. I feel like Taz is one of your guys, isn't he?
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
Roadrunner's good too. I always loved the Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote sketches. Those were always some of my favorite things.
I have the feeling you're more of a Daffy Duck than a Bugs Bunny for some reason.
You know what? I can see it. And I hate that I can see it.
Yeah, you're more of a Daffy than a Bugs, I'm just saying.
Every little race we do together, you're building more and more of a profile.
I've got this thing. I've like an FBI criminal profile built already. I've got it. I've got your food toppings down pat by now. The Dino Nuggies.
I hate how quickly you picked up on the trend.
Listen, you work with a guy. You learn he's not watched Shrek before. You learn he's not seen certain things. You get certain vibes. What can I say?
Fensler and Slagle Raymond and Fensler both pointed down across Slagle. Caution flag is out. Oh
Sounds
boy,
like they'll be back near the pit road access lane.
that's a big crash.
Yeah, look at that. That is a big crash indeed. We'll wait and see if it was someone trying to pit, or maybe someone got put down there and got pitted. Maybe, I'm not sure, but well, here we are again, lap 92. Watch this here. Truck slides up in front of him. Is that Mountain Dew machine? No, maybe not. I don't know.
The
It looked like
22 is
maybe
in
the
the
Mountain
wall.
Dew machine kind of got wild first, and then the 17 and the 16 got nervous. That would be Noah Swafford in the 17, Dylan Woobers in the 16.
Yes, I think the 22 Jernigan looked like he was up into the outside wall there, coming off of the corner.
Yeah, if we could look back for that Mountain Dew mission, I think you'd get more of your puzzle solved, actually. But here comes everyone down pit road first. Let's focus on this. We were not too far from that next round of pit stops, so this is probably still a two-stop race. We're not done here. No one could go 45 laps on this pit stop.
Interestingly enough, the top 5, Mitchell, Van Leer, and Sogak, Grayman, and Fensler are staying out. I don't agree with that, to be brutally honest. This is... Why would you not come down now? You are already out there for almost 30 laps.
Yeah, I mean, you're playing the math game is what you're doing. And I'm not sure I am in love with it either, but you're playing the math game and knowing everyone has to pit sometime. You know, so maybe you wait and you pit again, you know, later. So I'm not sure what's going on here. Yeah.
So that was the lap prior. Coming around. Yeah. So this.
Watch this Mountain Dew machine here. This is where my focus was a moment ago. The Sippy coming under 1 and 2. Rides it a little high, but that's okay. Listen, we're in single file. But watch it out of the corner. This is where I think things got sketchy. Did he catch a lapped car?
Yep, Jernigan.
Yes, he did. Yep, he caught the lapped car, and then
Whoa!
calamity on back. Oh my gosh, 28 got involved.
Did you see the 4 just slip through there like a fish?
Yeah, that was great move there by the 4. But wait, I'm going to tell you, I'm hearing some controversy. I'm not sure. Let's focus on this first. We're going to come back to the pit road controversy afterwards. Watch this here. This will be on board. Watch how fast things happen here at Atlanta. Buddy, not more than a couple hair strands from being there. But listen, being told that maybe some drivers didn't get the notice that pit road was open the first time by. That's what I'm kind of hearing here. There's some complaints about it and some upset drivers. But that may have been why we had some drivers stay out that first time by. Not everyone got the memo, apparently. Or they missed the memo, or I'm not sure what happened, but not everyone was told pit road was open.
So I'm actually curious about that, and well, we're going back to green, so we can't bring it up now, but pit road entry opens whenever the pace car crosses a certain point, but because that point is on the back stretch instead of the front stretch, and that caution came out as the leaders were crossing the line, my thought is they were ahead of the pace car still when pit road opened.
Yep, I agree. Actually, I'm on board with you. I think that's exactly what happened, and that's the important of letting the pace car by. So I think they missed the memo because of that, unfortunately. So they've gone to the backs now. It's Dale Rapp, Zam Bailey, and others who will lead us back to green here on lap starting 100.
I hate to say it, but I mean, I know the frustration, but I think that's on you. You got to be aware that that's going to be the case that happens, especially when you've already had 2 cautions already this race.
Yeah, what's that thing we hear from boxing and MMA, protect yourself at all times? Well, that's what you got to do here in racing as well. Green flag is out. Man, look at these big gaps in this line. I'm really coming on board with you, Nolan, race by these humongous gaps. I hate to use the word hate because that's so strong, but I despise those big gaps right there. You're hurting yourself, you're hurting your line, and it feels like those gaps exist so everyone can sort of bail on their line and get to the bottom.
Well, that might be very well the case. There was only 10 trucks that started side by side in this pack, and look at how much that separation has just hurt everybody behind him. Everybody here is starting to get doubled up, but the guys behind, nope, they're fresh out of luck. Now,
so here we go.
Here's the big thing: fuel. Do we have the fuel to go the distance now?
No, I think we're still probably a few laps short. As you saw the car scrub the wall back there. I can't see who it was with the black and red machine. I know I saw that go by. But no, I think we're probably. Okay, let me put it this way: for the leader or for the first couple of cars, I don't think you have the gas. If you're someone maybe, you know, I don't know, a Hales, a Witt, back in 7th and 8th, a Duda back in 10th, who can kind of lift and ride, maybe there'll be enough fuel. I'm not positive that way either, but I'd rather be back in the field and able to lift and try it out.
Well, let's take a look at the pit strategies entering this one. These are the stint lengths, and there was a period in the race, 36, 37. That was under green flag conditions as well, with a caution to help these guys out. I think they can go the distance, but they're going to have only enough to go the distance. If this goes to overtime, they have to pay.
But again, I think that's probably more prevalent for the people not leading. Right now,
yes,
if you're Dale Rapp or if you're Zane Bailey, you have to start thinking to yourself, hey man, if we stay green, this could be a problem that I'm up here, right? Like I'm going to burn more fuel by being up front than I would being 3rd, 4th, 5th in line. That's like saying, you know, typically, you know, when you look at the results for Super Speedway race, the guy who's 4th, 5th, maybe even 10th back in line turns the faster laps because that's just how the draft works. That's just sort of the science of it. Now we're going to ride on for Bill Hales here. Watch the speed. I'm curious to see. Get any indication? I mean, look at that. He is dropping speed down the back straight. That's not how this works if you're full throttle. So I think Bill Hales has already figured out, let me lift and see what I can save here, you know, 4th in line.
You can already hear him very much feathering the throttle, right? Only going about halfway to maybe a 1/3 of the throttle in there, just enough to keep speed up.
Never mind.
Well,
There
this
goes that
is,
talk.
yep, that changes that. Well, you're good to go the distance now on fuel.
Yeah, I would think so. And if you have any concerns, you'll come down and top it off. And there is our caution point. That's going to be the 23. That is Ryan McRoberts up in the wall in the quad oval. And there's another truck involved as well. That's the 8. Who is not really the 8 for the record, I don't think.
No, that was the 3. Anthony Williams.
3. Okay, maybe I saw. Okay,
scored as the 3
more.
and 3 on the truck. Thank goodness.
Yeah. Remember how we talked about the 13 being a broadcaster's dream?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing worse. You want to give a broadcaster gray hair. Have a different number in your league than what's on your truck. That'll do it. Here it is, 3 wide through. Oh man.
Oh boy.
You're right. That's the 3. That's the 23. And there's someone else in the back that got caught up as well. And
I think that's Swafford.
boy, I tell you what, if I had to make a list of like the top 10 places I don't want to be 3 wide on an oval track, that quad oval right there is definitely up there. There's something awfully deceiving about that. But here we are, everyone down pit road. This will solve that fuel problem. No one wants to fuel save, so everyone's going to come down here and put fuel in the car.
You saw Aaron May as well get a little bit checked up as they came down to pit road and actually almost went into the grass, which would have netted him a penalty. One thing that I saw as well in that wreck, did you see how close that truck came from going over? That was all 4 wheels off the ground there.
Yeah, we were getting there again. It's high speed, it's high impact, you know, in a track that has a banking. And you're going to see those kind of things happen. But here's the race off at pit road. That's Dale Rapp beating Zan Bailey, by the way. So Dale Rapp will lead us back to green when we get there.
Take a couple more looks at this incident here. This is on board with whether this is at speed, as man, the 3 trucks really did just go for the middle line there, and there just wasn't any room.
You know, and there's something really visually deceiving about this quad oval, Nolan, as a driver. When you're in the truck or you're in a car, no matter what vehicle you drive here at Atlanta, it's so, watch this, it's so wide when you watch it on the broadcast cameras, but when you're going through it, I mean, it's so narrow about how it feels here on the track. Man, and there's that truck up top. I mean, he had to move to avoid the truck up top. He just, unfortunately, the 23 was right there. I mean, I guess he would have had to have lifted, you know, to avoid that. I don't know.
And that was Noah Swaffer, the Raymond Motorsports driver that he was, and nothing Swaffer did wrong there. He's up against the outside wall as much as he could be. He never came down. That's just wrong place, wrong time for the 17.
Yep.
So Zane Bailey with the lead. Swafford stays out to get 1 lap back. He is not the only truck that is going to be doing that. The 72 is going to stay out as well. That's Michael Campbell III. That will also stay out to get a lap back. They'll both wave around the pace truck, or pace car, and we'll get set to restart this race with just over 25 to go.
Yep, so right now, everything's out the window. Gas mileage is good. You just got new tires, maybe 7-8 laps ago. Those should be good. So now, the only thing you have to worry about is, is each other, basically, at this point, right? Who's going to be aggressive, who's not going to be aggressive? All those questions from a super speed. Do I want to be pushed in a corner? Do I not want to be pushed in a corner? Do I want to be 3 wide? When do I want to do it? This has now become, realistically, a driver's race, by all counts.
Yeah. So, do you have this is dangerous territory here, but do you have a favorite to win this race yet?
No, it's such a crapshoot at this point. I mean, obviously Zane Bailey sticks out because he led the most laps last week, although he didn't win the race at Daytona. That sticks out to you. I mean, there's just so many people who it's such a crapshoot of who wants to be aggressive. I think right now what's going to surprise you in this race is the people we've not talked about all day who rode in the back, who now realize it's go time and will make their way to the front. I think there's going to be someone in the top 10 at the end of this race who's maybe not been there all day.
27 laps to go when we take the green flag, as we'll hop right back to it. Zane Bailey, Dylan Grutzmacher, the two that start low and top as we fight our way down to turn number 1. Paul Witt going to be the main pusher, and already we see one of those trucks. That was Jim Duda trying to get to the bottom, and he'll make his way down there.
Yeah, Paul Witt, he'll be the favorite. It's going to how good of a pusher he is. I mean, look at the gap he's already helped create here with Zane Bailey towards that top lane. Look at that gap that even in the bottom lane. Oh, there's also smoke in the bottom of the pit entrance there. That was new smoke. I don't have it, but we're hearing nothing so far.
Highball, I think.
Watch this here.
They just took the restart seconds ago, and then all of a sudden, whoa! What in the world was that?
That is questionable. I'll be nice to say it for now until we know later with the 41, but that raises the question mark is what I'll say about that. But here, let's keep live and watch this here. Watch the wheel. That's all I'm going to say. Watch the wheel. No.
It just went.
Yeah.
I wonder if you had the air, because these trucks are very aero sensitive, and when you have the back bend damage like that, I've had that happen to me at Daytona in the AI race. The truck will just come around on you. You just can't explain it.
Yeah, there's some questions there. I mean, he did move the wheel to the right, which is not what I was expecting to see. So that'll be something for the admins to maybe question later to see if there's a tint or what happens here. But look at this now. Paul Witt's pushing Zane Bailey. There's that 13, that very colorful, bright truck we talked about up top. He's now getting pushed here by some friends and see if they can make it to the front of this lane.
Justin Anasogak. He took the win in the final preseason race at Talladega. He started on pole at Daytona, ran relatively well all throughout Daytona as well. It's just a shame that it didn't really go his way at the end of things, and I think he ended up way down the field. Try to consult the last results on that one. So he it wasn't the best of runs for Anasogak, unfortunately. He did end up managing to finish 9th at least. But now he can see that win in his sights, and this will be his first official win in the series.
I'll tell you what, they always say a picture's worth 1,000 words, Nolan. Let me tell you about the 1,000 words explains why this bottom lane is dominating. Watch this here through the corners. Through 3 and 4, Grutzmacher does a decent job at keeping in lane with the 13, but watch up top here. The past few times in 1 and 2, Grutzmacher is higher in the corner than the 13. Again, he was going to be, but the yellow's out. We'll come back to that point. There's their caution, maybe right there. 2 trucks involved. There's the 3 truck involved again, unfortunately.
Walden Williams, it looks like, in this one.
I'll tell you what, the 3, I believe, was assigned fault for the last caution. Let's see what happened here.
So a little bit further back, we'll jump this up a bit more.
Yeah, that's the white truck. That's that white truck there with the red and black lettering you see coming through the camera shot. It's toward the back of your camera right here. Is he not? He's just gonna be a bystander. That's the 39 getting into the 5. That's what that is. That is Cody Witt getting into John Bawalda Jr.
Oh, and he just
Robert again.
clipped Robert Amaro. That, you saw him exit stage left, but that was a hard shot to the wall for sure.
Yeah, and that Plotter caught the 3. The 3 just went through the grass to avoid it. He just went ahead and said, I'll mow the lawn and not have any more damage. Than 3 was just, maybe he got actually bumped. Come to think of it, maybe he got bumped from the truck behind him. We didn't check him as much as he did, but yeah, at first I was concerned he was involved. He's just an innocent bystander in this wreck.
Yeah, not a very fortunate wreck for a few of these guys. That's just whole lot of wrong place, wrong time, if I'm being honest, except for these two right here.
Yeah, I mean, this is just the 39 coming up. I mean, I guess he sees that slow truck from the bottom and thinks he has to avoid it, but that's just so early. I mean, this is sort of that, oh boy, sort of that flaw you have with the style of racing. Like, I know we all want to pass a lap car and you don't want to lose momentum, but, you know, lifting is an option, guys. Like, lift and find that space later. You know, that may be your other option here, but all right, well, here we are, 20 to go. Zane Bailey still leading this field around. He's got the 13 behind him, and Paul Wilt, Dylan Grutzmacher, Bill Hales, and other here. And it's still too close to call. It's a very tight race. Anything can still happen, but you know, you can see that the drivers are getting nervous and aggressive by the way they're driving.
We'll restart this race with under 20 laps to go. 5 cautions in this race, and this is on the higher end of average for yellow flags for this league as of late. Usually it's about 5 or less. That's a pretty good number to hit. Definitely 10 would be the upward limit of what this league is expected in a race. And honestly, if we manage to get 5 more cautions from here to the end, well, it's possible I'd have some questions.
Yeah,
but,
there'll be some questions there. But this is why I almost hate using the super speedway analogy to compare it to Daytona or Talladega. The racing here is different, right? It's tighter. It's way more difficult in a lot of respects. You have to lift through the corners, and it creates some very sketch moments here as this race comes to a close. Well, overall, though, you know, you don't have this talk before in different leagues and different broadcasts you've done in the past month. I know that as a driver, the number of cautions can get to you and get in your head, and it can sort of fester. And I know as an admin, it can fester a little bit, and you kind of wish, you know, quote unquote, I wish my league did better is what we hear sometimes. But guys, it's part of racing. Like this isn't a bad, like, this is not a bad run for this league. This is not a bad run for this track. Everyone involved should still be proud of what they put on today. And I hope that's what everyone takes away is, hey, listen, we did Atlanta. We had a few cautions. We had a few wrecks, but it was still a great race. Unless you wreck 5 more times, and then
yeah,
you know, I got nothing for you.
Well, then you can say the first 100 laps was clean. Yeah, there you go. Silver linings.
That's the great part about data. That's some people. That's the great part about numbers. You can make numbers lie to you as much as you want if you just look at them correctly.
Exactly. We have 22 trucks still left on the lead lap. And out of the 38 that started this race, we've got about 30 of them left on the racetrack. Zane Bailey in control, and a Sogak up top. Witt and Grutzmacher on that second row. Bill Hales and Jared Duda on row 3. Green flag is up in the air. We find ourselves back to racing action with 18 laps on the docket.
Again, we see another incredible push by Paul Witt here. And I think why Paul Witt may be slowly forming as the favorite in this race is the way he gets these runs here, Nolan. He kind of pushes the leader, in this case Zane Bailey, out so far that he may be able to hop a lane and kind of lead the charge to passing the leader. Now, right now it's not possible. He's got a lane up top. But if we get into a restart, and that may be Paul Witt's best chance to kind of pushing the leader out and sort of taking advantage of said action. But right now, that 13 in that top lane is moving, and they're doing a great job. Here, I mean, I'm not going to push too hard.
Oh, trouble! Back straight away. One truck has just gone down and tanked the inside wall, trying to get tabs on who that was. It was Dylan Wilbers.
Yeah, Wilbers from 16. He's down pit road. I'm sure that's going to be some mandatory. Yep, mandatory repair. He is likely done for the day, unfortunately. Let's go back up here. This is Dylan Grutzmacher pushing.
Oh, no!
Hold on.
Whoa! Jared Duda caught in the safer barrier, and it's the big one.
Oh, guys, stop. Stop. Don't hit any more people.
That's one of the slowest rollovers I think I've ever seen.
Yeah.
So this is what happened first to Wilbers, and we'll get to Duda more in a moment.
Watch this first. This is Wilbers here right there in the center of your screen. That white and blue truck. Is he just going to get loose out of the corner? I think so. Oh, yeah. And right there, it's into the inside wall. Luckily for him, he mostly got it stopped and did not come close to him. You could almost argue that could have been a caution, but watch this here, middle of your screen. Looking for the 53 and the 053. One of these two cars is that 53 up top here, that white with the green text. Watch him here. Oh, it was actually below him. It was the 35, and I can't see the 52 maybe.
And then look at this, getting caught in the safer barrier.
I've not seen that in a long time.
I haven't seen that ever.
It brings back memories of the when NASCAR and Fox was broadcasting iRacing, and Clint Boyer got stuck in the fence at Talladega is what comes back to mind. But yeah, not too often do you see that. There's the 7 slow. I'm sure it was slow for us. I'm sure for the 7 of Austin Mitchell that was not a slow process. But watch it again here.
Big reaction. And then Mitchell comes down and boom, just barely nicked him too.
I mean, got hit though. He was almost, you know, you could say turtled right there, not stuck, but that bad angle, and up and he went. With both Dudas, I just realized it's the 53 and the 053 involved here.
Yeah.
Actually, I just realized that with the 35 in the middle. So that's Bill Hales who got stuck between the two Dudas. And guess who ended their race today? Duda and Duda.
I think that was Braz that got into the 7 of Mitchell here.
Yeah.
On board is Jared Duda.
He's along for the ride. This is all going to happen below him. He has no reaction time. Watch this. I'm good. Think about the race, and off we go.
Well, credit to him. It stopped him quick.
And at that point, there's nothing you can. The best you can do for yourself, especially from a direct drive wheel, is let go. Don't get your fingers caught. Just let the wreck happen, and then worry about driving it around once it's kind of back on four wheels. So again, watch this here in the bottom. It's the 35 getting into actually almost both Dudas at the same time. I mean, very minuscule amounts of seconds between the two contacts, and everyone sort of piles in, hoping to get through from there on out.
Even the 72 caught a little piece of that as well.
Yep. Oh, man.
It's unreal.
You're right, though. I've seen this happen before, but it's been a long time since I've seen someone up in the fence like that. I mean, that's just brutal. But it's almost brutal to think that's not even the worst one. The 53 gets down here okay. And then the 7 is, I mean, I guess the 53 does go over and everything, but the 7 is the one who gets, you know, flipped around.
Well, 1 to go before we get back to green flag racing. We get our first flip of the night. And, well, we tally him up again. I think that's now, what, week 4 in a row where we've had a truck go upside down.
Yeah, speaking of our first flip here, this is a flip too. The 13 was scored as the leader at the moment of caution. So that's going to put Justin Aniskak up in the top of Zane Bailey in second, Grutzmacher in third, and Paul Witt in fourth. So here's the flip. It's the same 4 guys at this 1, 2, 3, 4. They've just flipped lanes. So now it's going to be the 13 and the 388 on the bottom lane pushing. And now Paul Witt has to push Zane Bailey around the outside.
Why not? It didn't work one way. Let's try it the other way. The Geico restart zone and a Sogak into the restart zone this time by green flag back in the air. And we'll hop back to it.
Interestingly enough, Paul Witt not locked in. It shows how much harder it is to start on the outside here in these oval races. Paul Witt was not exactly locked in the way he would be on the bottom lane, but they have connected again. He's going to start pushing Zane Bailey, but this is going to become a drag race here for the next 12 laps if it stays green.
Even for drivers that may have stayed out under that caution a few cautions ago, even now you would be good to go to the end with no question as to whether you can make it on field. Oh yeah, way good for overtime. The cautions have ramped up in these last 30, 40 laps or so. Coming to 10 to go this time by. Rootsmacher the pusher and a Sogak out in front. Zane Bailey can't get Paul Witt to push him up there.
No, and what's actually happening is I've been noticing here, watch the outside lane, watch Bailey here. Remember I was talking earlier about some people prefer different lanes of the track. You can almost tell that Bailey prefers the inside lane. He has that red marker to identify where those wheels need to be. He's having a hard time just kind of keeping it straight through a corner, and that's killing some drafting runs from Paul Witt and the drivers behind him. The more he moves that truck around, the more he scrubs off speed, and the more he kind of helps kill the draft and the runs that he can get from it.
So Bailey tracking firmly on the outside line still as he gets his way down to the front straightaway. Oh boy, Levon Van Leer just blinked out of the middle of this pack. That's a risky move. That's going to cause a checkup back here. Look out for Dale Rampant more. We're going to get it settled, but that State's just got to get out of this packet quickly. No, sorry, that was a different one this time.
Yeah, it is a different one, but if you're a racer, a driver, if I was a driver in this race, I'll say that, I would be saying something to race control. Hey guys, listen, I know they're racing hard, but they got to move or we got to get rid of them because that's not fair. That kills draft runs when it happens, because when that car disappears, so does the draft, right? And it kills the run, especially when two cars in a row do it, which I've never really seen before, I don't think. Boy, that had to have really killed the run for drivers both in front and behind. Look how behind Witt and Bailey are, but then look up top and the car is now back there. In fact, most of the top of the rail, they said, hey, I'm good. Like, I'll go to the bottom where the run is.
Well, Zane Bailey doesn't care about that behind him because Paul Witt is still shoving that 20 truck through to the point of this race. Witt looks high. That's going to stall the run a little bit more, but with 7 to go, that outside lane's got a chance here. They can still come up and make this move happen. They just got to hope that there's some kind of big mess on the bottom side that stacks them up, or they just get the mother of all runs up top.
Well, if you want to mess on the bottom side, I feel like a likely source, with all due respect to these guys, has got to be that bottom first two. Rootsmacher is swaying that truck back and forth like a pirate ship, and every time he does that, he comes a little closer and a little closer to not bumping in the middle of that truck. And when if he bumps that truck off center, he's going to cause a problem. He's going to spin that truck around. He's going to cause a wreck. You have to bump in the center of this truck. You have to hold that truck still. Every time he sways, I get a little bit more nervous.
6 laps to go, less than 3 minutes of racing action left in this one. If this goes green the distance, which at this point could be a very big if. Rootsmacher tracking up from the bottom lane, almost into the side of Zane Bailey. He'll keep that truck on the bottom lane, though. There's Jared Duda just struggling around it. Jared Duda at this point is only running the apron. He's just trying to log laps and maybe pick off 1 or 2 extra spots in his late race trouble.
And Rootsmacher almost came up, and I thought for sure there was some contact with either Bailey or Witt or someone, but they all got it worked out again, and they're all doing pretty well here. But credit to Witt, to Bailey, to everyone up top. They've really gotten this thing calmed back down a little bit. They've got that line formed, and they're trying to make the draft happen. You need Witt to get up here probably one more time to give a nice shove in the center of that truck and make it happen, or they need something to happen to break up that draft in the bottom lane. Is now they're 3 wide in the middle of this field.
And 3 wide hasn't worked the last few times he tried it. Jeff Gilmore, the Canadian, getting muscled out. He's into the wall for the Irwin Tools, number 53. No problems here, though. He'll get it back, double file, and it's all eyes up front. 3 laps to go this time by, and a Sogak still leads him, looking for official win number 1.
Right now, I think if you're Witt and Bailey, you probably get one more good run at this, right? You probably get one more shot to try and give one more big boost. And the problem that I think Paul Witt has is the moment if Zane Bailey gets clear of the drivers on the bottom, Zane Bailey has to move. He can't sit there and wait for his, drafting partner to catch up. So that may be a problem if that happens for Paul Witt. He may get left out to dry here.
through 3 and 4. 2 laps to go. About 3 miles of racing are underway for the Hampton, Georgia 200. It's still Sogak versus Bailey. Now the question is, does Witt or Grootsmacher try to make a move to go for glory?
I don't know what move Grootsmacher could make. He's really stuck there and painted into that bottom lane. Witt might make the move. White might decide, hey, let's go 3 wide and leave Bailey behind. But I mean, if you use past performance as a predictor of future results, Witt seems locked into Zane Bailey.
Crossing the start-finish line, white flag officially in the air. It ends this lap no matter what on regulation time. Zane Bailey up top and Sogak down low. This could come down to a drag race. Coming off a turn 4 to the front stretch. Bailey, Grootsmacher Witt and Grootsmacher still the main pushers. 3 and 4, neck and neck between the 20 and the 13 down low. One truck gets the outside wall. Bailey with the drive, round the top, they crash behind. Bailey pulls clear. Bailey takes the win of the Hampton, Georgia 200.
Wow, great race move by everyone involved right there, and everyone at the front, at least in Zane Bailey, just got the last benefit of draft and rode it around and won this race.
And a huge crash across the start-finish line as well, but this is a big day for Zane Bailey. He gets 1 in the win column, and as we've talked about with Aaron Raymond being a driver that can take these wins, you need every single win you can get, and critically, Raymond only 16th. That's 2 for 2 for less than optimal weeks for your 3-time defending champion. Zane Bailey right now potentially with a catbird seat to go for a championship.
Oh yeah, when you go from, maybe not winning last week, but leading the most laps at Daytona, now you have went ahead and won at Atlanta. I mean, luckily for the rest of the drivers, the super speedway portion is over, in this schedule for now. But man, Zane Bailey doing a great job.
Did everything he had to do this afternoon as he is going to burn it down. A happy camper on the front straightaway. Take a look back on what happened with that huge crash coming to the wire behind them as this really escalated quickly. Coming off of turn number 4, Fensler got turned by Kira Fidesz, and round they went. That's all that was, just multiple trucks going for, oh my goodness, Raph. Holy cow, he's over the pit wall. That's another first. Well, that's one thing I wasn't expecting to put on my bingo card today.
Yeah, a big wreck here just happens, and that's sort of what happens at every super speedway, right? Lots of hard hits. There's another truck up and over, so you can put 2 on the ticker for tonight.
Yeah, that was, holy cow. Well, a wild race and a wild finish. Typical Atlanta Motor Speedway things. Let's take a rundown of your official post-race results this afternoon. It was a very solid outing for Zane Bailey. Makes his way up 8 spots. He'll take the W ahead of Justin Sogak, just taking the victory away by 0.04 of a second. Paul Witt was 3rd. Grootsmacher in 4th. Labat Van Leer was 5th. Chase Mazalewski in 6th. There's Aaron May, George Rincon, Jeff Gilmore, and Jason Fensler to close out the field. And then, of course, it'll be Dale Rapp in 11th, Ryan Wayne in 12th, George Kibra-Fidesz in 13th, Mike Campbell in 14th, Chisselback in 15th with Aaron Raymond in 16th, Cody Witt, Anthony Williams, Jim Kolmensberger, and Jared Duda will bring it up down in the 20th place position. Continued on down through the pack here in this one as we'll try to make our way further down the field. There we go. It's Michael Campbell III in 21st and Swapper to 22nd. Nicholas Braz in 23rd. Mick Roberts 24th did not finish this race. He is joined by the likes of Joshua Jernigan, Brad Slagle, Bill Hales, Austin Mitchell, Jim Duda, John Bualda Jr., Robert Amaro, Dylan Wilbers, Joshua Heimbar, Luigi Gonzalez, Zachary Mertz, Anthony Lane, Thomas Lane Jr., and Michael Dowd did not make the start of racing action this afternoon. Never turned a lap in the Hampton, Georgia 200. So